Yay! Okay, so we're doing workout A, and if anything, the only thing you're going to really need is that band, but you may or may not need that. So we're going to start with static lunges. So if you want to stand by a wall or you have a chair you want to hold on to, you can use that. I really want you to actually hold on to something because it will help you to focus on your actual form and not have to worry about your balance or, any other factors that might throw you off that you might compensate in other ways because you're not fully supported. So we're going to start by going into a lunge position. So you're going to hold on to whatever that thing is. You're going to have a staggered stance. So you're going to be just, static lunge just means stationary. You're just staying in one place as you do it. So your front foot, your toes should be spread nice and wide. Your back foot, you're up on your toes and your back foot. And then what you're thinking about is your back knee going straight down towards the ground until your front leg is at a 90-degree angle. And then you're coming back up. So you want your back knee to come straight down, because if your back knee starts to drift forward, all of your weight's going to shift forward and all the weight is going to shift right into the front of your kneecap. And then that's why a lot of people say, my knee hurts when I do lunges. So we want to come straight down, with the idea being that your front shin should be completely at a 90-degree angle. We shouldn't be shifted forward. It shouldn't be behind either, but your knee should be directly over your ankle. You're coming down. You should feel that in that glute of the front leg, and then drive back up. You could play around with this also. So you're going to be doing 15 on each side. So you're coming down, coming right back up. Again, my torso is nice and upright. I'm not shifted forward. I'm not overarched. My rib cage is right over my hips, and I'm just coming directly straight up and straight down. Okay. You could play around with that if you're not feeling it so much, or you're saying, I still feel it in my knee, or I'm not really feeling it in my glute. Think about pushing your back foot away. So push the floor away from you as you come down. That might shift it a little bit different. You could think about pulling your front foot, your front heel back, kind of like we did in the post-workout stretch of the hip flexor, where we kind of are pulling together, but this time our front leg's going to be pulling back and our back leg's kind of pushing away as well. So that will really fire up that glute. You'll probably feel that a lot. I do already, and I mean, we didn't even do that many so far. So that's really what you want to do. You want to feel that in the glute. You're going to do 15, nice and controlled. We're not rushing through these. We want to make sure that we have full strength through the whole range of motion. So all the way down, all the way back up. You'll do 15 on the one side and then switch and do 15 on the other. So I typically make sure that I'm holding with the leg that's back. So that just helps a little bit, but for the sake of the video, I'll try to turn a little bit this way so maybe you could get a different angle. So again, one leg is forward, one leg is back, front toes are spread, back foot on the toes. We're coming directly straight down and coming right back up. Nice and controlled. You could play with pushing that back foot away as you come down and come back up. You could play with pulling the front heel back towards your midline as you come down and as you come back up. Whatever feels the best for you, that you really feel that glute firing, that's where you want to be. And you could just keep playing around with it as you go to really just hit those muscles in a different way. So 15 on each side. Then we're going to come down to the ground and we're going to do a Deadbug Sequence. So we're going to do 5 of each of these. There's a whole series to go through. So you're going to start with your feet on the ground, and our main goal is that we are engaging the lower abdominal. So the area just below your belly button to your pubic bone, you want all of that to be strong and kind of braced towards the floor. We want to keep that braced the whole time we do this whole series of exercises. So we lay down with our knees bent. We're driving that core into the floor, really getting that strong brace. And we're going to start just by lifting a foot up off the ground and then bring it back to the floor. and then do the opposite leg and bring it back to the floor. The whole while, and sometimes I'll even just tap my lower abs here as I do it to remind them that they need to stay contracted. And you want to just make sure that you don't have an arch in your low back. That's why we need to keep the lower core nice and engaged so that lower back doesn't pop off the ground. So once we do 5 on each side of just these heel lifts, then we're going to go to a straight leg. So you're just going to reach out and bring it back in. Again, keeping the lower abs nice and strong as you do that. So we do 5 of each on each side, keeping the lower core engaged as we go. And then after you do 5 of those, you're going to let your knee drop out to the side and bring it back in. When you do that, you want to make sure that the opposite knee does not move. So I usually, when people drop this knee out, this knee either wants to drop out this way or it wants to come with it. Don't let it. It should point straight up to the sky as the other leg goes out. This one's really going to challenge that lower abdominals to really stay engaged, because typically when the leg goes out, it wants to turn off. So you want to make sure that that does not happen and you keep that strong. So then from there, once you do 5 of those, we're going to lift our feet up off the ground, and we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did with our feet down, but now we have them up. So now they're at a 90-degree angle. The knees are directly above the hips, and we're going to drop a heel or toe, doesn't matter, down to the floor, and we're going to alternate that. Again, keep that lower abdominals nice and controlled. If you can't do this without with keeping the core engaged, just go back and do another round with your feet on the floor. This is just in a little bit more advanced. So make sure that lower abs are staying strong and down. We're not doming our core. So if you're doming, you're typically, that lower back's probably going to come off the ground. The core is going to pop up. We want to keep that down into the ground. So once we do 5 of those, then we go again to 5 on each leg extensions. And you don't have to go super low. You can stay high. You can work, a little bit lower. You're just doing a distance that you can maintain that lower core work. And then lastly, we go back to the knee dropouts to each side. So lower core is engaged. And again, when you drop the leg out to the side, the other knee does not move. So core stays engaged, and we do that. Okay? So we had legs on the floor, lifts, then straightens, then knee drops, and then feet up off the ground, heel drops, leg straightens, and out to the sides. So from there, we would go to 15 side leg lifts at a wall. So you could do this right up against the wall. I don't have one to do it against right now, and you don't have to do it against the wall. The wall just helps to provide an idea of where your leg should be and keeps you from cheating. So 15 side leg lifts. So from here, we want to make sure again that we're pulling that lower abs back as we do this, and you're just going to bring the leg up. So if you don't have a wall necessarily, think about sliding your heel up on a wall, pause, and then come back down. So you're going to do 15 on one side and then 15 on the other. So ideally, you want to be feeling this in the glute. If you're feeling this in the front of your hip, we need to make some changes. So that might mean that we need to really just pull the core back more. It might mean that we have to play around with toes pointing up or toes pointing down to get that a little bit better. But ideally, or maybe that you're just lifting too high for what is comfortable for you at this time. So just going up to a comfortable height, pause, and come back down with your main focus of the glute doing the work. And if you can, think about reaching through your heel as you lift it up. So 15 on one side and then 15 on the other side. And then the next one that we'll go to is a standing one leg balance. So I'm going to give you 2 options here. So if you can balance on one leg for 2 minutes without any trouble, without your leg feeling fatigued without you feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall over, I'm all over the place, then we have a separate exercise that you can do. So once you get to 2 minutes of a one leg balance, there's another exercise to do. So again, when you go to stand, I want your toes to be spread. You're gonna drive through the leg that's on the floor and just lift the other leg up off the ground. And you're just gonna hold it. That's it. So hold it for 2 minutes. And you're just going to see if you can manage this, how long you can stand here. If you'd like, you could even try and do your knee at a 90-degree angle as you hold this. Typically, this is a good way, a good indicator to see how strong your hip flexors are. If after 30 seconds you feel like your knee just starts to drop down, you could probably use some work with that. You should be able to hold that for at least a minute in a 90-degree angle. So holding that there, 1 to 2 minutes on one leg, 1 to 2 minutes on the other leg, and just compare. See if one side seems stronger than the other. That might indicate some things that could pop up in your runs. If your one leg is stronger than the other, I can do 2 minutes on no problem on my right leg, but my left leg I can do like 45 seconds. Okay, there's an imbalance there. So those are things that we need to know so we can address those and help to make that better. Otherwise, yes, you will probably end up with injuries or compensation issues or anything like that down the line. So make me aware of that. If you can do that 1 to 2 minutes with no problem on both sides, then we're gonna get that mini band and do a band runner exercise. So for this one, again, you would have something to hold on to for this. You're gonna balance on one leg. So we're taking that balance we just did, and then we're gonna add what, it's kind of like doing those fire hydrants. So like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. You're gonna bring your knee out and back on a diagonal and then come back in. So you wanna think about, okay, I'm in my running stance, and then this leg is doing a static hold and this leg is doing a dynamic movement as you do that, as you hold that position. So ideally, hold on to something so you don't fall over, and then you bring the knee out and back on it. So it's more of a diagonal movement that happens there. You should really feel that in the glute. This leg's really working the balance. So we don't want to be holding on for dear life, but just enough so we don't fall over. And then of course you could do the other side. And I would do maybe 10 to 15 of these with a pause on that out position, making sure the knee is straight ahead again, just like your running stance. And then you're just bringing that knee out and slightly back. Okay, so just another option for you. And then last exercise in this grouping for the 2 rounds, you're gonna do 25 glute bridges. So you're gonna lay on the ground, your feet are about hip width apart. One thing that I like to do personally is just tuck my chin up, or you could put like a pillow under your head just to keep your ribs down. And then squeeze your butt and lift your hips up off the ground. So you could hold your head up if you want to. You could do it with your head down too, but I just like to kind of close this space between my ribs and my hips, and then drive the glutes up off the ground and come back down under control. Your glutes come straight up. You're squeezing your glutes as tight as you can. By tucking your chin to your chest, it helps to make sure that you're not using your lower back to get this motion done, that you do keep it in your glutes, and that it's not about, oh, I have to get my hips as high to the sky as I can. It's more about like really just squeezing those glutes as hard as you can and trying to get them to lift up as high as you can. Pause and come back down. So you do 25 of those glute bridges, and then you would go back through all of those exercises one more time. Finally, it says the 1 round of plank Tabata. I have what's called on my phone a Gym Boss timer app. It's a free app. You can literally put in whatever sequence of timing that you want to do, and it will buzz or beep at all the increments that you're looking for. So you can literally put in You're going to be doing 15 seconds of a plank, right into a 15-second side plank, back to a plank, then to a left side plank. This is all going to be continuous without breaks. And you're going to do that 5 times. So it's a total of 5 minutes of planking, but you're rotating as you go. So I don't have, obviously, my timer right now, but I'm just going to show you what you're going to do. So when we do these planks, you're actually going to plank with your arms one in front of the other, so it's easy to rotate. So from here, start on the ground. Your toes are tucked under. Your forearms are, your elbows are right under your shoulders. You're going to relax your shoulders down your back so you're not up at your ears. We're going to engage our lower abs and then lift up off the ground. So we're going to hold this position here for 15 seconds. Make sure we're not sinking down. Make sure our butt's not up in the air. We should be in a straight line. If this gets to be a challenge for you, just drop your knees to the ground. Okay? You didn't change anything with the torso. It's either straight legs or bent legs. Nothing changed in the upper. Okay? Then from here, after 15 seconds, you're just going to roll to the side. So I didn't change my feet. I just rolled to the side. And I'm here for 15 seconds, side plank. We want to make sure that we're kind of getting this front oblique. It shouldn't be in your back. We should be here in the front. You should feel that here. Then you're going to rotate back to the center. 15 seconds of a regular plank. Then rotate to the left or the right or the opposite side that you did. 15 seconds. Really pulling, tightening that core, making that oblique work. Then rotate back to the center. 15 seconds. And then you'll keep doing that. Rotate, rotate, all the way through for 5 total minutes. So good luck with that. If you can't do the full 5 minutes, start with what you can do, even if that's just a minute, 2 minutes. And then just continue to build until you can get up to 5 minutes. And again, do the modified versions if you need to. And good luck with that. That's a good one. See ya.